Clearly, strict gun laws is not the thing that is going to solve this problem. What is going to solve this problem, and I really do believe this, is look, I don't like this. I don't like to admit this. I don't like that this is a fact of life. But if you are a psycho and you want to make headlines, you realize that our schools are soft targets.
Another mass shooting in the United States. Is it a day that ends in Y? There's just so many that it's hard to even keep track of all of them. So this story, I found out about it literally like 2 hours after I posted the one about Marjorie Taylor Greene and the Democrats working in Georgia. So you got a kid who killed 4 people at his high school, Appalachia High School in Georgia. He killed 2 students and 2 teachers. And JD Vance was at a rally, I guess, for Donald Trump, somewhere out in Arizona at the time. And he decided to weigh in and give the response that literally every Republican always gives whenever there's a mass shooting. So we'll take a look and then I'll react.
First of all, what happened in Georgia is just an awful tragedy. An absolute barbarian decides to open fire and take their lives and also a couple teachers. We got to think about these people. If you're the praying type, and I know I am, we got to hold them up in prayer. We got to be hoping for the best for this incredible community, because no parent should have to deal with this. No child should have to deal with this. And yes, after holding these folks up in prayer and giving them our sympathies, because that's what people deserve in a time of tragedy, then we have to think about how to make this less common. Now look, the Kamala Harris answer to this is to take law-abiding American citizens' guns away from them. That is what Kamala Harris wants to do. But we have to ask ourselves, we actually have been able to run an experiment on this, because you've got some states with very strict gun laws, and you've got some states that don't have strict gun laws at all. And the states with strict gun laws, they have a lot of school shootings. And the states without strict gun laws, some of them have school shootings too. So clearly, strict gun laws is not the thing that is going to solve this problem. What is going to solve this problem, and I really do believe this, is look, I don't like this. I don't like to admit this. I don't like that this is a fact of life. But if you are a psycho and you want to make headlines, you realize that our schools are soft targets. And we have got to bolster security at our schools so that a person who walks through the front door we've got to bolster security so that if a psycho wants to walk through the front door and kill a bunch of children, they're not able to. And again, as a parent, do I want my kids' school to have additional security? No, of course I don't. I don't want my kids to go to school in a place where they feel like you've got to have additional security, but that is increasingly the reality that we live in.
So, as per usual, the Republican response to this is the same as always. It's thoughts and prayers, and we have to beef up the schools, right? We need more security at the schools because schools are easy targets. Schools are soft targets. Like, no matter what the situation is, no matter what happens, the Republican response is literally always the same. It's thoughts and prayers for the family and their victims, and it's something that has to do with not the guns. It's never the fault of the guns. In a country of 340 million people or so, we have 400 million guns. But it's never the guns that are the fault for the mass shootings, okay? It's always violent video games, violent movies, violent TV shows, fatherless homes, mental health, although Republicans don't actually want to do anything to give people health care should they need it. No, it's always something else. It's never the actual gun that is the problem. And the solution is always more guns. So when JD Vance talks about like, yeah, we need to make sure that the security at our schools is more beefed up, and I don't want my kids to go to school with more security. Let me just be clear on a couple of things. One, JD Vance is not going to have this problem because JD Vance sends his kids to private school. And most of the mass shootings are not happening at private schools. They happen at public schools. So that's number one. Number two is he is bought and owned by the NRA. And that's the real issue at the center of all of this, is that the gun lobby in this country is insane, which means that the policy surrounding guns is insane. The gun culture in this country is absolutely insane. So, like, on policy alone, okay, I own guns. I know a lot of people who own guns. Most people who own guns want common sense gun laws. It's the reason why Tim Waltz actually, used to have an A+ rating from the NRA, veteran, used to carry guns all the time, is an avid hunter, all of this, now has an F rating from the NRA because why? He supports common sense gun laws. And anybody who supports common sense gun laws gets an F rating from the NRA. Because, as we all know, the only way that you can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Except, wrong. Uvalde, I think, was the most famous school shooting that absolutely proved that ridiculous theory wrong. Because Uvalde, I don't remember how many kids it was, I think it was close to 20 or something like that. People got shot in Uvalde. There was a whole army of guys, good guys with guns, sitting outside the school while the school shooting was happening and doing nothing, doing fuck all to stop it. So the idea that you just got to put more guns into the schools so that these school shootings don't happen is ridiculous. But literally, nothing about this will ever change, especially for Republicans. And I knew this back with Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook was like the most insane thing ever in this country. Like elementary school kids, 20 elementary school kids got killed during Sandy Hook. And the Republican response was the same. It was thoughts and prayers, and it's not the fault of the guns. It's we have to do more guns in order to make sure that the bad guy with a gun doesn't get as far as he did. So a little bit more about the shooter and what's going on there. So his name is Colt Gray. Fucking of course his name is Colt. A name of a gun. The kid's name is Colt Gray. He's 14 years old. He's supposed to be tried as an adult, and he's being tried for murder. But the bigger part of this story is actually his father has also been arrested and has been charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of murder in the second degree, and then 8 counts of cruelty to children. So the reason his dad is involved is he was the one who actually bought the gun for his son Colt that killed the people at that high school. And again, this is because, one, we have an absolutely insane culture around guns where parents are buying their kids these kind of weapons. Absolutely nuts. And then 2 is, again, gun laws, because there are no red flag laws in Georgia. And apparently the FBI knew about this from about a year before, that Colt had made some sort of a threat about doing a school shooting about a year ago. So this was on the FBI's radar, but at the time they weren't really able to do anything about it. They didn't have enough probable cause. But the reason that this happened is because this kid's father, even after they knew that he had made threats about a school shooting before, decided to buy this kid a gun. What a fucking monster. But the Republicans are never going to change. The Republicans are never, ever going to change on this issue. They rely way too heavily on the NRA and also the culture war, right? Because Republicans have made it a cultural issue and also a political issue. So they'll always blame the Democrats for politicizing any kind of a mass shooting, for wanting to, I don't know, maybe do something to stop all these mass shootings, like common sense gun reforms. But the Republicans are the ones who originally politicized this issue. And they're never going to change, because if you don't remember, Donald Trump was shot less than a couple months ago. It wasn't that long ago that Donald Trump got shot. So think about it. These people are psychopaths. They absolutely are insane. And the reason that we're not able to get more through is because it keeps getting blocked in Congress. And it's because of the Republicans that take the NRA money in Congress that common sense gun laws get blocked. So anyway, I wanted to show you this clip as well. This is the father of one of the kids who was murdered in Parkland back in 2018. And he has some very choice words for JD Vance as well. Let's take a look.
But I will tell you, last year, we invited every member of Congress to walk through the Parkland school where my daughter was shot. It is still an untouched crime scene. The blood is there, the DNA is there, the coursework was still on the desks as if the kids had just walked away from them. JD Vance never showed up. He didn't come. But you know who did? Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris came and walked that building with me. Because rather than thinking this as a fact of life that we need to accept, she wanted to see everything that led to the tragedy that could have been done to stop it, and how we actually need to rethink schools and public safety going forward. It is uniquely American, but it is also a fact of failed policy and failed politicians, and we get to fix this with our vote.
So part of what he said, I actually didn't realize that Parkland, they left everything exactly as it was the day that they were shot. I remember the day. I remember it was Valentine's Day. I remember seeing it on TV. I was working in a bar at the time. And I've actually now gone back and read this article from the AP. And it's like, if you walk through the school, there's still laptops open on the desk. There's still papers on the desk. There's like chocolate and teddy bears and deflated balloons and flowers all over the place. It's really, really, really sad. But the reason that they left all of that way, and that they took people from Congress on tours through the school, was to show them here's what happened, and then some of the other preventative measures that could have stopped some of the kids who died in Parkland. But again, at the very best, that's what you'll see from Republicans. They might agree to some kind of thing with, you know, an alarm system or bulletproof glass, doors that lock from the inside. Those kind of things are okay, but they will never, ever, ever say that the guns are the issue, because that is the hill that they're going to die on. And they made that very, very clear after Sandy Hook. And it's just every mass shooting that's going to continue to happen until we can actually change the policy on guns. And guys, last thing. The reason that mass shootings happen is it's a policy choice. We have decided in this country that a certain number of kids is expendable. That's what JD Vance means when he says it's a fact of life. Okay, he has decided that it is just a thing that happens, right? Like kids just die in mass shootings. I don't know. Just like it is a policy choice that we're okay with all the people that sleep out on the streets. Poverty is a choice, okay? Having mass shootings is a choice. Having 60% of all bankruptcies in the United States be related to medical debt. People going broke because of medical debt. That's a policy choice, okay? And so keep that in mind when you are going to vote, and who would actually put forward the policy, hopefully, that would address some of those issues. Because I can guarantee you one thing, it damn sure is not going to be Republicans doing anything about guns. It's not going to be Republicans doing anything about poverty. It's not going to be them doing anything about medical debt. Guaranteed. Anyway, appreciate you guys tuning in. Remember, like and subscribe to all the videos if you're not already subscribed. Liking it gets the algorithm to push this out to more people so that the channel will grow. Really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.